There it is, Jeff, live. Well, you are live according to StreamYard. Uh,
Yeah,
good morning, boys
I
and
feel
girls.
I feel alive.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
Yeah,
We're going to find out if you really are, or if
we're gonna
you're
test that
maybe,
theory.
if you're not AI, if you're not some kind of an
Ooh,
AI
yeah,
dude over
yeah.
there. Eventually we'll be able to do that. We'll
Yeah,
just have a couple of AI guys and we'll already program it and we'll go live and I'll show myself actually playing against you and winning. And
yeah.
then people will go, okay, well, that's just AI. There's no way in reality that would ever happen.
Not even.
So it would be the end of Jacklich as we know him. Major Dan, good morning. What's going on there, young man? Guys, thanks for hanging out with us again today. Brent Abel here, WebTennis.com. Another episode of What's the Right Shot. A little different version today. We're to talk about your plan A. We're to talk about how I used to think about it and how it was completely wrong. And and what I do now instead that is a little different and seems to work a whole lot better. Lowly Pond is with us this morning, Jeff.
Woohoo!
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A
I like
little,
it.
yeah, good. Yeah, me too. So, guys, what else is going on? Oh, yeah, that Bitcoin thing above 70, hit 73.6 this morning.
Yeah, I like it.
So, if you're into holding, smart, real smart.
Total, total.
There you go.
Yeah,
What else we got?
got a
God,
beautiful day here in Napa.
good.
Finally, hallelujah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I've
nice.
got couple of the tribe coming out today to
Good.
advance advance the effort.
Yeah. Always good. Always good. Well, look, the XRP Army. Well, you're going to love that, Jeff.
Oh, there you go. I'm a
Hmm.
holder.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Okay. All right. We could just turn this into a crypto conversation real fast, real
Well,
easily.
things are, come April 20th or is it 22nd, the halving, the Bitcoin halving. So things are really getting interesting out there. Anyway,
Okay. All right. So let's try to keep it to tennis this morning, Jeff.
all right.
All right, Lowly, come on, man, help us out here. Anyway, guys, look, what I've got for you today is something a little different. Normally, we look at a point. Today, we're to talk about, how I used to screw up Plan A. I mean, and Jeff, the message that I used to get, the message I used to give, and the
Yeah.
message I used to think was, well, just go out there and play. Plan A was go out there and play your game, my game. And if that didn't work, then what's plan B? Well, look, I would, against everybody, no matter who they were over there, I was, hey, serve and volley. Here we go. We're coming in. We're chipping and charging.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, guess what? Today, that guy doesn't really care. In fact, he likes to take my serve and knock his return down to my feet. Now I got to play it up. And he goes,
Yep.
now this is going to be fun.
Yeah. You get
Or
down
he
there
would,
and play in the dirt, Brenny.
yeah. Or he'd actually invite me when he was serving. Hey, why don't you play in there, chip and charge, man? Huh? Yeah, come on in, come
Come
on
on.
in.
Come out to the coast. Have a couple drinks. It'll be great.
So, so I would get a little frustrated with that, and it really kind of came to light in Australia, in Perth, Australia, in 2009, when I was played the team event. That was my first team
Yeah.
back then, and then I stayed around for the individuals, and I got in the quarterfinals against this Australian who was good, but I knew I could play against this guy. Unfortunately, the night before it rained, or that night before we played, it rained, and we were not on actual grass. There was this artificial
Yeah.
grass they have on some of the courts there in Australia, and
Mod grass. That's what they
well,
call it. Didn't they call it that? Mod
I
grass?
don't. Well, they may have, maybe I
It
didn't.
was synthetic turf, right?
It was
But
synthetic
I
turf. It
think the
was
slang though they called it mod grass.
okay, as in modified, or I don't know.
I don't know, modern
Yeah,
mod grass. Yeah, I'm
I
not
got it.
sure.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah,
So, but the tournament director said, "Well, here are the balls, fellas. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. match." And I said, "Well, it's kind of still wet out there." And he looked at me like, "So?" And I said, "Okay." So we go out there, And serve volley, plan A, here we go. And my first split step is like a cow on ice where the legs go completely out. And I'm just, as I'm going down, I'm
Were you
slow.
spinning like this, like spinning?
No, no, I'm going, my legs are going straight away from me, both of them.
Ah,
And
splayed out.
and I'm thinking, this is going to hurt. And
Tailbone.
yeah, sure enough, I just, I stay down there for a second just to make sure all parts are still together. And I come back up and go, well, I'm screwed because I can't serve and volley. I can't chip and charge because split stepping is not a thing.
Yeah.
So, guess what, Brent? You don't really have a backcourt game where you can maybe work the point around and do this or that. So, anyway, lost the match, came home, and it took me quite a while to figure out that my plan A is not, hey, just go out and play your game. And over the years, I finally, by watching the good players, I just, talking with the guys and just seeing how they approached matches differently depending
Yeah.
on their opponent.
Hmm.
And so I know thick, hard headed, not the sharpest tool in the shed. But here's what I finally came to believe is that your tactical plan A is not this. It's not, hey, play my game, play
Yeah.
your game. It is, in fact, it's intel gathering. It's probing. Like intel gathering means if you're playing a tournament and you're playing against a guy you've never ever heard of before,
Yeah.
well, you start asking some of the fellas, do you know this guy? No, no, no. Oh, yeah, I played against him a couple of years ago. Oh, great. Okay. Well, what's he do? Well, here's what he does. Oh, okay. Or
Yeah.
you go out there and no one knows of this guy, and you get out there and you, in the warm up, you start to probe around a little bit, start to kind of, rather than thinking, oh my God, I don't have my forehand today.
Right.
No, it's not because that's my plan A. My forehand's my plan A. No, your forehand's going to be there, but you got to probe in the warm up. And then you got to probe in maybe the first 3 or 4 games to find out,
Yeah.
wow, this guy's really good at this thing. Okay. So
What's he
let's
not so
do
good
this.
at? What's he not
Let's
so
avoid
good at?
that strength. Right. And then let's go ahead and find out, well, let's avoid the strength, but let's find out what their average thing is. Or maybe there's a real weakness over there.
Right.
And the weakness could be it's a shot, it's a stroke. They're really good at this forehand, but they just suck at that backhand. All right. We're going to avoid the good thing and we're going to pick like a monster on that weak thing. Or maybe it's not a stroke. Maybe it's
Could be a combination.
could be a combo. It could be that they don't like moving up and back.
Right.
They maybe they don't like a combination of that strike zone over there on their average backhand, some high, some low. So let's work that. Maybe it's because, look at that bro over there. He's carrying around an extra 17 pounds, Jeff. So
what happens if I extend the point to 5 or 6 hits?
Let's do that.
How's he doing?
And let's just see. And he may be good. Maybe he's a former D1 player.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a former guy who played on the satellite tour. And yet, now that he's in the 65s, he's not really worked on the fitness.
Right.
And let's just go ahead and work him. Mark's saying, but don't you have to start somewhere? Well, that's the whole probing effort.
That's the whole point. I think too, circle back to, you start out by playing your game. Can you define what you do? Can you define what that is? Right. So
I could back in the day, I could say, well, I'm a serve and volley guy.
Right.
Okay. So that would be my definition.
Right. So some players though can't actually pinpoint what it is they do. Right. And that's true. That becomes a problem when, well, what I like to do is I just like to move the ball around and I hit it to the open court. Well, okay, that's really not a brand. That's just improvisational, putting the ball around the court. It's really not looking to see what they like, what they don't like. It seems when I push the rallies to 5 or 6 balls, he starts to look for the exit. He gets a little antsy. So these are all the subtle things. I noticed when we were warming up that he changes his grip a little bit between the forehand volley and the backhand volley. So maybe balls right at the belly button, make him have to fumble around a little bit, test that out, see what's going on. He doesn't seem to put a lot of pace on his volley. Okay, so now instead of going for the heavy pass, I'm going to look for the 2-ball combination. I'm going to let him hit the volley because he really doesn't strike it that big, and I'm going to cover the next ball. I mean, there's so many subtleties to finding out what to attack and how to do it in a way that sometimes your opponent doesn't really know what's going on either.
Yeah, I think to answer Mark's question is don't you have to start somewhere? Well, I'll tell you the way that I start, and that is I look for their strength. And I just, so for example, in the warm up, if I play a couple balls right up the middle and they dance around to take a forehand, okay, right. Well, that's some intel. I'm not saying that that's their strength, but
it's a habit. It's something they've trained and they look for.
And maybe it's not a huge weapon over there, but maybe they're trying to hide something from me. Maybe they're trying to do something where I can't discover what it is that they got. I really hope Brent doesn't find this thing out. Okay. All right. So, but I think you start there and then just take it to, again, if I've never played this guy before, I'll find the strength. Well, let's look at the other side and let's see what happens. And from there, you kind of, I don't know what to say other than you just take it from there and you just see how it goes. Look, like we talked about, it could be a certain stroke, could be a weakness over there. Maybe not. Contact zone, like we talked about. Can you move the ball up and low? Well, I can with my forehand for sure. I can get the ball to go up where it's a high bouncer. I can also play an underspin with my forehand to skid it low. Obviously, I can do that with my backhand. Court position. Can I disguise the guy into thinking I'm going to play another deep groundy? Okay, and then pull the trigger and play a dropper. All right, well, maybe he doesn't like that. Maybe he doesn't want to be an all-court player. Maybe he doesn't want to visit all parts of the court.
Right.
Fitness. Is the guy out of shape? Well, then why in God's name would we keep playing balls over to his big-time forehand and let him unload and shorten the points?
Right.
That would not make any sense. So, and then let's say that you're not really making much traction with that. Let's say that it works for a while, and then this guy starts to go, well, I'm going to find your weakness. Okay.
Yeah, he makes an adjustment.
He makes an adjustment. But our plan B is to continue, if need be, to adjust whatever weakness we found over there. And look, there's just no guaranteed formula. Everyone wants to know, well, just go play your game, as if that's the formula for winning matches.
Right.
Unfortunately, your game, your strengths might just feed into the beast over there. And now you're getting embarrassed because that guy is better at doing what you think your plan A is.
Yeah.
So you got to be strategic. You got to be tactical.
You got to become a problem solver.
Absolutely.
And a situation solver. Sometimes it's not even a problem. It's just here are the variables. What's the best plan to put together here to access his weaknesses, right? And make him uncomfortable. How do I disrupt his flow? How do I disrupt that tempo, right? Whatever it might be. So again, it's not always this obvious, oh, he's got a weak backhand. Oh, he doesn't like this. Oh, he doesn't like that. Maybe it's the fact that you're altering your pace. I'll drive 2 balls and then I'll put in a full court chip. It's got arc on it. The ball hits, kind of sits up so it doesn't move through his strike zone. I just gave him 2 balls that move through the strike zone. He seems to like rhythm. Okay, let's pretend we're going to give him rhythm and then take it away. How does he react to that? All of a sudden, he's flying the 3rd ball. He's hitting it long. He's over. He's banging it a little bit too heavy now. because he's ahead of it. Okay, interesting, subtle. It's a subtle thing. Somebody watching may not notice what you've done, but that's another tactic. It's another understanding of the variable that could be there.
Yeah. Look, the same thing works in doubles as well. I mean, you may love to bang your return to serve back cross court. You may love to drive it with some top and look great, but it could be that server over there, man, give me some pace on that transitional volley, because there's not a lot that I have to do technique wise, and I'm just going to lay it back there. Now I'm in. You're still feeling good about banging your return, and now all of a sudden, now we can do, as opposed to, wait a minute, that server's partner doesn't really move great back on the overhead. Doesn't really or doesn't like the overhead or whatever. Okay, then just go ahead and give them a steady diet of that, and make that server have to cover that little lob, even though I know you want to just rip that backhand. Okay, but let's get them into something that they don't really want, and maybe that opens up what you really want to do.
Right. I can recall a number of matches where we were just being outgunned in doubles. Right, they were just beating us to the punch. We were just being outgunned, and we were heavy, serve volley crash. I mean, and these guys were just outgunning us. And the whole second set, we lose the first set pretty bad. Up in the air, up in the air, up in the air, up in the air, up in the air. So we get break point. We finally get a break point at literally 5-6. They're serving, and I'm in the ad court, and kind of hits this serve, and it kind of just hung there a little bit into my forehand, and I could sense that he was pulling up, and I went ahead and just hit a forehand cross court, regular return. Instead of putting the ball up, he didn't even move for it. Clean winner.
Yeah.
Because so now we had set the tone. So now going into the third set, we ended up winning the match, because now they were coming in and holding up a little early. They were giving us just a little bit of room. Now we could play underneath them a little bit, right? But it took a whole set of just defending and defending and defending, right? And to stay the course, to try and create that space, So I think another thing for players to understand is that when you do come up with a plan, when you see an opening and you see, like, okay, I can probe this, I can do this, he doesn't seem to like that. On that given day, just because you figured out a solution, the solution might mean that you win 7-5, 7-6, like 6-5 and 4. I mean, the solution doesn't mean you get to win 0-0 or 1-1. It means it's going to be a dogfight, and based on your skill set and his skill set, you're closely matched. So have you figured out the difference on those handful of points that get you the victory that day? So it's really important you understand that the solution isn't this automatic, we just start stacking up points now. It's a dogfight sometimes, and your solution means that you just pull it out. That's
yeah. Remember, I asked Craig O'Shaughnessy once. I said, "What's your plan in tiebreakers?" And I think the old thing was, well, the guy who gets to the net first is got the best chance of winning the tiebreaker. Okay, he didn't answer it that way. He came back with, he said, it's just sort of, he said, you got to be kidding me. We've played 12 games, and now it's 6-all. He says, I've got so much intel gathering on this guy. I know exactly what I'm going to do in the tiebreaker. He said, if you haven't figured this guy out by the tiebreaker, then you're just not aware of who's doing what to whom. And so, no, you're right, Jeff. I mean, there's so many matches where, all right, you've figured this guy out, but it's a dogfight, and it doesn't mean that every point you're going to win every point because you figured something out. It just means that are you happy winning 52% of the points that day? And that could be based on, a really deep dive on probing and adjusting.
Yeah.
So I want everyone today to get out of their heads that your plan A is I'm going to play my game today. And then what's my plan B? Well, rather than going serve and volley, I'm going to stay back and play that game. That's my game. You know what? I screwed that up for so long. I think I underperformed for so long, left a lot of money on the table.
Yeah.
It's kind of like mindset skills where you think, well, I can just out fitness this guy, right? I can out fitness the game, meaning that if I continue to be in unbelievable condition, that somehow magically, that I'll figure out the mental game, because that'll make me mentally tough. It helps, no question, but it's like plan A. You got to do better than that. You got to be smarter than that. You can't just play your game and think it's going to work every time. What happens on those days, Jeff, when you want to play your game and you're not quite clicking on all cylinders?
Your game didn't show up.
Here we go from Mike TT. Still waiting for the person who handles my forehand drive return from the ad court well when coming in. To be honest, the easy answer is you just stay back, since I'm aiming around the service line. Okay. Well, I suppose what I would tell you, Mike TT, if we're playing from the ad court, I'm gonna bounce some out wide and invite you to run around and play that forehand. And if you hit a clean winner right up the middle, right down the line, great. Cross court, great, you can do it. But I'm going to move you away from the middle. I'm going to make you go out in the alley and invite you to do it. And look, from time to time, I'm going to serve right down the tee. I know your forehand's big, right. but I don't mind losing a few of those points serving down the tee, because I want in your mind to be thinking, well, I got to cover that. That's a possibility. And you know what I found, Jeff? I remember first time I played Jeff Seichman, Joff, not J-E-G-E. It was the finals of 45s in San Francisco at the Cal Club, and monster forehand.
Right.
Just a monster forehand. And I finally figured out that, you know what? This guy hits that forehand so much better when he gets to run around the backhand. He just looks at the court differently.
Right.
And so I just said, all right, well, I'm going to make you hit running forehands to your right.
How does that work?
6-1. It worked.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's it. It's like there's also the nuance of finding somebody's strength, and do they do the same thing with it every time? Right. Yeah. So in a lot of my matches back in the day, I would open up the match when I would serve my first serving game. I would open the match by swinging them wide into the forehand if that was their strength. And I just felt like, I kind of know this guy likes to put the ball here, wherever that was. He hits the crap out of it. He hits it a ton, but he hits it to the same place. So I was like, you know what? I think my volley is better than his forehand. I think I can, and if I can on the very first point take that volley and shove it down his throat, I felt like I was making a statement about, like, you got to hit your best one on point one. Now what are you going to do? Yeah. And so if you know what they like to do with it, can you play a little possum and go ahead and be ready for it, and then know that you're getting a really well struck ball. That's the other side of it too. Is like, if they hit a really nice ball, that's sometimes easier to handle, because they're giving they're giving you a great ball hit with good tempo. And if you're in your rhythm, it's like, oh, this is beautiful. Thank you.
Why wouldn't you want them to take time away from themselves? So why not serve out wide in the deuce side?
Right.
Invite them to hit their big bomber, and now you have the ball.
Yeah.
And where are they? They're still out there.
They're no way to be found. I could literally, many times I would take that first volley and shove, literally almost down the center of the court, just a hair into the ad side, if it's serving out wide into the deuce court, because there's just no recovery. They've got the ball the ball is on my strings just like that, and carve it down in there. So.
All right. Well, it's time. 25 minutes, Jeff.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Look, guys, hope this has been helpful today. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out there and, continue to work on some swing tech, meaning let's pare away what you just don't need with that swing tech. Let's get it to where it's so clean, it's so minimalist.
Yeah.
But it's super repeatable. It's super consistent, so that that when you go out and play a guy that you can probe, you can find out what they don't like, and now you can make that adjustment without thinking, well, man, I really love to hit my forehand big and hit winners. That's not a plan.
That's not a plan.
It's just not a plan, man. So
if you're not letting the other guy touch the ball, you're probably going down, and you're going down fast.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, listen, again, hope this has been helpful. Jeff, thanks for hanging out again today. Good stuff as always. Guys, if you want to further the conversation, please do so down below. And/or you can shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. Always happy to keep the conversation private if that's your preference. Jeff is over at jeff@jacklich365.com. Another beautiful day here, Jeff, in the desert. Sorry. Guys, it's time. We got to get out there. We got to help someone else have a spectacular day, guys. See you again next time.